So this is a speech that I wrote for a Disability Employment Awareness Month kickoff event. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much to all of you who are here with us today. I've been thinking a lot lately about the transformation of Disability Employment Awareness Month, or DEAM. I can still remember back when inclusive employment felt like a new concept. Maybe it was because I was so new to the advocacy world that I wasn't aware of the strides that had been made previously. But for me, it felt like we were starting from scratch and building something from the ground up. I was first introduced to the idea of inclusive employment through the Pan Disability Connection in Edmonton. I remember feeling like we were pulling teeth when it came to trying to get employers on board with inclusive employment. But as time went on, as DEAM became more and more popular, it started to feel like the tide was starting to turn, and a wave of change was taking over. I could not be more proud of the progress we have made. We still have a long ways to go, but I'm so incredibly proud of how far we've come. As some of you may know, Alberta's Employment First Network, or AEFN, is hosting its third annual Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Accessibility IDEA Conference on October 4th. It has been my honor to be on the planning committee for this conference for the last 2 years. The theme for this year's conference is authenticity in action. It was a theme I brought forward because it's one that holds a lot of meaning for me personally. 2 years ago, I began living my life as the gender I know I was always supposed to be, a man. The amount of confidence, self-respect, and self-esteem that finally living my life as my true, authentic self brought me is a feeling that I can't put into words. To have the ability to be your true self, to have the ability to follow your dream, see your skills as meaningful, are all deeply important things that everyone should have the ability to experience. However, sadly, many people with disabilities aren't given that opportunity. Because of that, because of society's preconceived notion that people with disabilities can't do things or don't have any skills, it essentially keeps many in the disability community in the closet. It makes us feel devalued and ashamed, like who we are, our true authentic self, is not okay, is not accepted by society. So that's why, no matter what you're doing to help people with disabilities, you have to do it authentically. Let me give an example. I am a very creative visual person. I love creating things through graphic design, filmmaking, digital media, all of that stuff. I tried to go to school for it many times, but my anxiety around group projects in a school setting prevented me from succeeding. Thankfully, I can use these skills to create content for the disability advocacy group I'm part of, including the Health Advocacy Federation, Disability Action Hall, Albertans Advocating for Change Together, and the Staying Connected Network. I also have my own TikTok and YouTube channel called The Anti-Ableist. Fast forward to 2020. I was hired by an incredible company. This company truly cared about its employees succeeding. Not only do they have an entire department geared towards providing accommodations to any of their employees, they also have their employees complete a job evolution plan that encourages them to create goals that they can work to help them move up in their role, or move into a role that suits them. This company, the people that I worked with, were all truly amazing people, to the point that they actually worked with me to deal with the service provider who had helped me find that job, and who I had countless issues with. Unfortunately, because I was doing data entry, a job I really didn't care about, but one that I had the skills for due to a work experience job I did for 3 months in high school, I ended up burning out a few months after I started full-time. There was a department there actually the first department I worked in that created training videos for their employees. Basically, the employees working in that department were using graphic design to create these fantastic animated learning videos. This was something I was really interested in doing. However, unfortunately, the supervisor of that department believed that in order to do that work, you had to have a teaching degree. There was no discussion of job carving or finding a way for me to work there. Sadly, it was a resounding no. So, even though I was working for this incredible company that really cared about its employees, and while making really good money, I had to quit. It was one of the hardest decisions I've ever had to make, and one that I wish I never had to make. The point I'm trying to make, and what we're hoping you'll take away from this conference, is that if you're going to embrace inclusive employment, you have to do so in an authentic way. You have to be willing to look past your bias, look past your preconceived ideas about who can or can't do what job, and give them a chance to shine. Because I guarantee you, if that company I talked about would have given me that opportunity, I would still be working there. And yes, it might mean taking an innovative approach to employment, but your business would do so much better if you hire someone who maybe has no degree but has passion than someone who has a degree but has no passion. The company that I worked for offered to pay for their employees to take courses if they needed to. They even had employee mentors that you could talk to and learn from about a role you were interested in. This company pulled out all the stops for their employees. But because they allowed their own bias to cloud their judgment, they lost an employee who was passionate and who wanted to help their company succeed. In closing, I will leave you with this thought. Authenticity is not just important. It isn't just an idea or a concept, especially when you're dealing with people who might not have ever been given that opportunity to be themselves, to stand in the spotlight and shine, to stand in the spotlight and show the world what they're capable of. Authenticity isn't just important, it's paramount. Thank you.